back.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to discuss the journey versus the end result. And to start, I want to get a little bit personal with you about my personal life. Not that I don't do that already more than I probably should. So, I have struggled with weight my whole life. And as I'm telling you this story, know that it does relate to homeschooling. I promise. I promise. I'm not just doing this to indulge, right? Um, Actually, quite the opposite because it's a little bit embarrassing. But I've struggled with weight issues my whole life. Whole life. I was overweight. And then as a teenager, and then in my early 20s, I lost all the weight and it was great and all of that good stuff. And then I got married and had my first child. And then exactly a year to the minute, I had my second biological child. Now, I already had two stepchildren that I was raising, but I had my second biological child. And then a few years went by, I had my third one, and then a few years, and I had my fourth biological child. And each time I gained more weight and more weight and more weight. And I would try so hard to lose the weight. I tried diets. I tried intermittent fasting. I tried joining gyms and kickboxing and all of the diets you can imagine and doing the programs where you eat the prepackaged food. And I had tried just all of the things that you could try. I tried. Okay. And then a year ago, May 1st, I decided to hire a trainer, and I did. And my husband had hired the trainer because he didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but he really wanted to get fit and bulk up, and so we decided that we were gonna do this together. And I had 90 pounds to lose, and I asked the trainer, "Well, how long is it going to take me to lose 90 pounds?" And they said, "It's going to take you about a year." And I said, "Okay." And so we started on the journey. And they gave me a very specific eating plan, and I had to buy the food and cook it for my husband and I. And my husband's the kind of person, he could eat the same thing every day for the rest of his life and be totally fine with that, and occasionally have something different, but otherwise he's good. I'm the kind of person, if I have to have the same thing twice in a row and it's not chips and queso, I will die. I will die. Pretty sure I'll die. But they gave me a set plan that I was supposed to eat every day, and 2 weeks in, and I told them, like, I can't do this. It's just too hard. And so it took 2 months to figure out what works for me. Then they had me do counting macros. That didn't work great. I don't like eating protein. And so they're like, okay, what are we going to do with this person? And then we settled on that as at a certain calorie level, I feel good. I feel health, like I feel lots of energy, and I can still lose weight. And so that's what we settled on. And then they started slowly giving me exercises to do, strength training to do. In 2020, I started walking every day. I'm a very slow walker, but I started walking on a daily basis. And I've continued that over the last 4 years. But I'm a slow walker. Like I'm not like breaking a sweat kind of a walker. I'm like a more of a mosier, as I've mentioned in previous podcasts. And so that's what we were working on. That's what I did, is I was just plugging along. In the past, I would say to myself, self, you have 6 weeks to drop 20 pounds, or you have 6 weeks to drop 10 pounds or whatever. And then along the way, as I'm seeing that I'm not dropping the weight, I get really, really discouraged, and then I'd give up. I don't have a lot of willpower when it comes to food. And I would just be like, I'm not seeing any results. I just give up. I quit. I can't do this. And then I try again and go, okay, I'm going to give myself this long to get here to this destination with my weight. And then when I wouldn't get there, or that time came and went, and I wasn't even close to it, I would again get really discouraged and I would just give up. But this time, last May 1st of 2023, I decided I'm not going to set an end date on this. I'm just going to focus on what I can do, as opposed to that end by May 1st, 2024, I'm going to be, 90 pounds down. I decided that I was not going to focus on the end result and make that my my ultimate goal. Like, it has to be by this day. And I know the SMART goals, right? You're supposed to give a time limit and all of that stuff. But for me, I found that it was starting to be damaging to me, because I'd give up when I didn't make it to the finish line in the amount of time that I had given myself to make it. And I couldn't force my body to lose the weight. I could do everything exactly right and stay the same weight for 3 weeks and then drop 5 pounds, and then stay the same weight for 2 weeks and do everything right. Right. And so I decided I wasn't going to focus on a specific end time. I was going to focus on the process. I was going to focus on what I could do each day. And I have to be honest, it's not been perfect, right? I still eat chips and queso sometimes, and I don't feel guilty for it because it's within my calories, and and I started to, and the days that I missed, there was one morning I totally had like 5 Reese's, like the little Reese's mini peanut butter cups for breakfast, shot out my calories for the day. And I didn't let it deter me. I was like, okay, well, for the next meal, I'm going to eat my protein and do what I'm supposed to do. But I decided not to let it deter me from that. I'm going to get back up and I'm going to try again. I fell. I'm going to get back up. I'm going to try again. And the next day, I'm going to try again. And I'm going to try again the next day, and again the next day. And the days that I fall, I'm going to dust myself off and pick myself back up and try again and again and again and again. Now, I have to be honest. Today, as of the date of the recording, is the 27th of April. And so just in just a few days, it's going to be May 1st. And I'm not 90 pounds down. I'm not. But I am 60 pounds down. I am 4 dress sizes down. But had I focused on, oh my gosh, if I don't get to 90 pounds down by May 1st of next year, then I'm a loser, I wouldn't be 60 pounds down. I'd be nothing. I'd be at the weight I still was at. And so I think a lot of times we focus on the end result so much that we miss what will get us to the end result. And that is consistency, day in and day out, and the beauty of the actual journey that we're taking. I realized, and in the goal world, I realized there's lag goals and there's lead goals. The lead measures are the tracking of the activities that we think will produce the result we want, right? So my lead every day, my lead goal was, did I do my 30 minutes of walking? Have I done my strength training for the day? Have I stayed within my calories? And if I did those 3 things, then I'm successful, even if I had 5 Reese's peanut butter cups. The lag goal measures are the outcomes our actions did. And honestly, we don't have control of the lag goals. We don't. The results will, like, my body will do what my body will do. No matter how hard I try to force it, I don't have control over the lag of that, right? I have been super great all week and haven't dropped anything this week. Nothing. I've not dropped anything. But I'm still working on my lead goal. I'm still, I logged all my food today. I'm still logging my food for the rest of the day. I'm about to go on a walk as soon as I finish this recording. And it's snowing right now in April in Colorado, which yesterday it was 70 degrees. The one downfall of Colorado is the weather is bipolar. But I'm going to go on a walk because I have control over that, but I don't have control over the end result. Okay. And in the process, I've really come to love the journey. I can't tell you where exactly in the journey I got stronger. I can't say, oh, on this date, I suddenly, it was from, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. that suddenly my muscles got stronger and I could lift a 20 pound weights doing this one exercise. Like I can't tell you that. Somewhere along the way, my body was getting stronger and I can't necessarily pinpoint that. I can't. But when I look at the whole journey over the last year, I can see progress that I couldn't see on a small scale. I couldn't see from day to day. I couldn't feel the progress. I could just, I can see it now. It's been a year. I can see my before pictures and my pictures today look very different, but there's not one instance where I went, oh, there it was. That's when I just lost all the weight. It was a gradual process, and it's been a long process, and it's been good, but it's been really hard in many ways. And in other ways, it's not as hard as I thought it would be. Okay, so what does this have to do with homeschooling, my friends? What does this have to do with homeschooling? You've probably already made the connection. I think sometimes we have this end thing that we want for our kids. And we have to remember our kids are their own people, and they're going to ultimately make their own decisions. They're going to make their own life choices. And we get to be part of their journey and part of their process, but we don't get to decide the outcomes for them. We don't. And so as we're on this process with our kids, let's make it count. Now, many of you might have chosen to do some sort of a curriculum, or perhaps you made a goal at the beginning of the year that your kids have to read, a book a month and do a report on the book or whatever, or they have to be done with algebra 1 by a certain date. And it ends up taking the child a lot longer. Or perhaps you made the book goal of reading 12 books, a book a month, and then you had a couple months where everyone in the house got sick, or you had a tragedy in the family, or you find out that you have to take care of aging parents, or it gets really stressful and you find your child and you during the deschooling process are really having a hard time with certain things, and it takes you longer to do it than you expected it. And suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, it's now May and we failed because we're right in the middle of the algebra curriculum, or we're only 6 books in the year. And now we're failures because we didn't finish checking all the boxes. And I'm here to tell you it doesn't matter. You're homeschooling. You can take as long or as little time as you need on the things that you choose. And you're not a failure if you're not done with algebra by May. I have a child that, if we're lucky, will get done by August. And it's her goal to have it finished. And it's taken her a lot longer to get through it than it would have if she was in the public school system, because they would have to push her. Now, I'll tell you, when she was in the public school system and she was in pre-algebra, there were daily tears because she didn't understand it. It was going way faster than she was capable of doing it. It way faster than that part of her brain would work. And I don't beat myself or her up anymore because she's not done, right? The important part is that every day she's working on it and she's learning a little bit more. Or maybe she takes a break for a week and then the next week she works really hard and tries to get through it. But I think sometimes we become so focused on the end that we miss the beauty of the journey. I love Sarah Mackenzie gave an example because she talked about this, and I when I heard her speak about this a while back, I really appreciated it. She's the founder of the Read Aloud Revival and the author of Teaching from Rest, and she said, we don't do a puzzle because we want a pretty picture at the end. We do a puzzle for the process of doing the puzzle, right? To enjoy the actual process. We don't buy really expensive real wool yarn because we want a pretty sweater, but we could literally buy a sweater. But we buy the yarn so that we can enjoy the process of knitting, which I had my first knitting lesson and it went really great. And now I can do a cast on. I'm so excited. I mean, that's all I can do right now, but just saying, right? It's so that we can enjoy and learn the process. I'm losing weight because I'm focusing on the process of losing weight and getting my body to where it's a healthy weight and where I'm not tired walking up the stairs and where I can play with my kids and not always be exhausted. And so I want you to really think and focus on the process. My end goal for my kids is that they're God-fearing kids who know how to seek truth and who know how to find answers. And I know that they'll get there, they'll become that kind of a person as I help teach them, where do we seek truth and where do we find answers? And we do that by a process, right? That this learning is happening this whole time. And sometimes because it's so minute that we don't see the leaps and bounds that are being made within the hearts and minds of these beautiful children, because we have this idea or this notion that we have to check a box and we have to get to a certain point by a certain day. Now, I'm not saying that deadlines aren't important, right? My kids are in a play. It opens next week. They have to have their lines memorized, right? There are times in life when deadlines are important. Taxes are due on April 15th, right? We have to have them in by then. Otherwise, you have to get an extension, blah, 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 right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that deadlines aren't important at times in life. But in the learning process, right? When it comes to education and learning, we should be lifelong learners and we should be teaching our children to learn to love the process of learning and let them see that it is a lifetime pursuit to learn. So my husband has been in real estate for 21, 22 years. I can't remember. Long time, over 2 decades. And there's a new facet of real estate that he is venturing into. And it's totally, it's still in the real estate vein, but it's not buying and selling houses as he's done for 20 something years. And my kids are watching him talk with mentors. They're watching him watch these online classes and online courses. They've watched him go to conferences. They've watched him network with people. They in real time are watching him in the process of learning something new. And what a beautiful gift he's giving to our kids by showing them that at 47 years old, you can still learn and you can still enjoy the process, and it doesn't come all at once. Like he doesn't just suddenly know what he's supposed to do, but he learns one step at a time, the way that we as humans learn. And so I want you to, if you're beating yourself up right now because you are not done with the good and the beautiful English curriculum, or whatever curriculum you're using. If you're using a curriculum, I want you to just give yourself grace and give yourself time and realize that the power is in the process of you just being consistent on a regular basis. And maybe you're not even doing it every day. Maybe you're doing it 3 days a week. Shoot, maybe you're doing it like twice a week, and that's all you can handle. It's enough. Okay? It's enough. But I want you to give yourself grace and realize that the process is what matters. Guys, I'm 60 pounds down. I'm 60 pounds down. I still have 30 more to go, but I'm 60 pounds down because I focused on the process. And I'm so thankful. And I've changed all of these really bad habits that I've had throughout my life because I focused on what I could measure, what I could track, and not that I had to be at a certain spot at a certain time. Your kids are learning each day. They're learning all sorts of beautiful, cool things that cannot be measured. I know our states try to measure those things. They're called standardized tests, and they don't really work or show anything, right? And that's not the life you want for your kids. You want kids who are lifelong learners, who know where to find answers, who know how to seek truth and find truth, who know how to learn to do something hard and difficult. So if you don't take anything else away from today, I just want you to have joy in the journey and joy in the process and joy in the things that you can do each day, and stop focusing on where you didn't succeed. Do better tomorrow. If you're really concerned and like, oh, I didn't teach them civics and government. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. If you failed today about that, well, guess what? Pick up and do it tomorrow. But what did you learn today? And maybe you learned, oh, I probably shouldn't procrastinate some things, right? Whatever. But I want you to start enjoying the little things, enjoying the little parts of the process that make a big difference. I named one of the podcasts earlier on about eating dinner together, small hinges swing big doors. I think that's the case for almost anything. It's the little things that have the biggest difference. Having a close relationship with your child seems like a little thing. Doing those steps to regain that child's heart seem like little things. A conversation here, a lunch together there, but they're big things. And the end results are huge. And sometimes we don't even get to see, we may not fathom what those end results will be. So if we can just find joy in each step along the way and enjoy the process of learning with the kids, and rather than like hurrying to try to get through Frankenstein with your teenager, enjoying the book with them, or trying to get through the Little House on the series, Little House on the Prairie series, that we enjoy the story along the way. And in the meantime, they're picking up all the coolest things and learning things that you have no idea about what's going on in their brains. Anyway, I love you, my friends. You were doing so much better than you think you are. I know you are. You guys reach out to me and tell me the wonderful things that you're doing in your homeschooling. And then in the same breath say, I feel like I'm failing here, and I'm like, no, oh my gosh, do you realize how good you're doing? I'm, without trying to sound condescending, I'm proud of you, and you're my peers, and I'm proud of you. And you're building these beautiful cathedrals, these little people who will become amazing human beings. And you're doing it one story at a time, one hug at a time, one meal at a time, one conversation at a time. And that process matters. It matters more than anything else. One read aloud at a time. You're doing better than you think you are. Keep going. And don't give up. And if you have to extend the goal deadline that you've set for yourself, guess what? You're homeschooling. It's okay. You're not beholden to the principal. You're not. I love you guys. You got this, mamas and papas, and grandmas and grandpas. Have a great week. We'll talk next week.
If you enjoyed this today, please like and subscribe. You could also join our private Facebook group at School to Homeschool, or sign up for our newsletter at www.schooltohomeschool. Have a great day.